Welcome to the course From Sick Note to Fit Note. We're going to start off today having a quick quiz. What I'd like you to do is to have a look at the document in your download support pack that's called the Old Sick Note. On it you'll see a list of conditions, and what I want you to do is to describe a yes or a no answer as to whether you think a doctor would have asked someone to come to work with those conditions. Take a few minutes to do that now. So why do we need to change from the sick note to the fit note? Really, it's down to cost. The cost is about £7.3 billion per year to the economy, and on average that's 7.4 days per employee per year. The public sector is slightly higher at 9.7 days per employee, and in the private sector, in manufacturing particularly, it's 6.5 days. Sick-related absence costs you as an employer around about £700 per employee per year. That's quite a lot of money then that can be saved for you. So moving on from cost then. Research actually shows that work is therapeutic, that with support the employer can get an employee back to work, full-time work, more quickly if they phase their introduction back to work. And in the long term that actually cuts down absenteeism in the workplace. It's been found that many conditions can be accommodated in the workplace, and some of those that you've just seen on the previous slide, where a doctor may have signed the employee off before, can actually now be accommodated in the workplace with the correct support, particularly through an occupational health advisor. Another reason for the change is that it needs to be made easier for the GP to offer appropriate advice to the employer regarding particular conditions of employees and whether they can be accommodated in the workplace based on the functionality of their condition. Let's have a look at the fit note rationale. Many people with health conditions can, with some basic support from their employer, work as they recover from their condition. This helps the individual because for many people work can help recovery and also benefits the employer by reducing sickness absence, just as we've said. The Department of Work and Pensions actually provided that statement for fitness for us. Okay, so let's have a look at what's changing. Firstly, there's the removal of the fit for work option that we're all used to. There's a new option now, may be fit for work with some support. The doctor provides information on the employee's condition to the employer. Better news all round. And also they suggest common ways to help a return to work. Doctors can now use telephone consultations as an acceptable form of assessment. There's also a reduction in the maximum duration of the statement during the first 6 months of absence to 3 months. Okay, let's have a look at what remains the same. The timing first of all. The employee is still required to obtain a note after 7 calendar days. The fit note is used as evidence as to why the employee can't work. And the advice on the form is still a doctor's advice to their patient. It's not binding on the employer's part, except in the case of DDA. Statutory sick pay requirements also remain unaltered. However, the point of caution here is that the employer's obligation under DDA is still the same. So what benefits are there for business then? Firstly, there's more information on the employee's condition. Secondly, it encourages communication between the employer and the employee. Hopefully it leads to fewer employees being off sick, which ultimately gives you, the employer, better management control over absence. So let's take a look back now at the old sick note. It's been in use, can you believe it, since 1922. The doctor assesses whether the employee is fit enough for work or not, and there's no middle ground. They are, or they aren't, fit for work. The presumption is that work may impede recovery of a patient or the doctor, so the doctor therefore advises the patient to either refrain from work or not to refrain from work. Ultimately, for the employer and business, this encouraged a sick note culture. So let's have a look more closely now then at the new fit note. The doctor focuses on what the patient can do rather than what they can't do. There's an abolition of the fit for work option, and they can advise the patient whether they are not fit to work or may be fit to work. It actually offers the option of altered or adapted work in terms of altered hours, phased return to work, amended duties, or even workplace adaptations. The fit note applies for a maximum length during the first 6 months of an illness to 3 months, which I previously mentioned. And so then, what's the GP's role in all of this? The advice that GPs have been given when issuing a fit note is that they do not need specialist occupational health expertise or a detailed understanding of the patient's job in order to complete the form. So the doctor is then able to provide a more detailed view of options which may assist in an earlier return to work for the patient. You are permitted as an employer to assume the employee is fit for work.